All right, good morning, everybody. It's Rob. I'm back from vacation and excited to talk about today's call, the customer culture. And I really want everyone to understand that this is one of the things that I see when I'm traveling around regularly. We're going to give an actual example of what I'm talking about. Last week I was at a dealership, and they did a lot of things. This advisor did a lot of things in a short period of time that I just feel need to be discussed, and it has to be understood. This is critical. But the customer at this location came in, and they were having a concern with an engine repair. So the dealership was preparing the customer that they needed to go in under warranty and do about a 5-hour repair to an engine. But the way that it was approached is something I think is very worthy of conversation and discussion. And don't ever do this at home, this type of information that I'm sharing here. Never do this. But the customer came in, and the advisor immediately started grilling the customer. Well, our technician found that your oil was over full, 1 quart. It was over full. Now, immediately, the customer went on the defensive. Now, it didn't stop there, because he goes, "Where do you get your oil changed? It sure isn't here." The customer then informed him where he changed his oil, been getting his oil changed there for 15 years. He says, "Well, he sure overfilled this one." Now, what else then was the advisor added to that? Said, "Well, we don't even know what weight oil did the guy use." Now, how many customers do you think are aware of what multi-viscosity weight oil that their service providers putting in the vehicle? But instantly, it was a man and his son. Instantly, they took a defensive, very negative posture at this behavior, because they're feeling that the dealer's going to try to skate out of covering them, that they're creating a cause for not being a part of this large repair. Now, I would say to you directly that irregardless of the system being over a quart of oil, might have been the tone of voice and what came first in this. Because what is the customer's concern when they're bringing a car into the dealership? How am I going to replace the vehicle while it's in for the repair? That might be a legitimate concern. And what repair is needed, and what is going on with the vehicle, and how is it going to be cared for? What's the timeline? These are real concerns that the customer has. Matter of fact, the dealership intended to provide them a loaner during the repair. "Oh yeah, we're going to have a loaner ready for you Saturday, and we're going to you just keep that car for the next several days. We'll probably have you done on Tuesday, and the parts will be in that we need to order, and we'll have this repair completed for you." But what the focus was on was how the customer or their service provider failed. Even on a question of the multi-viscosity oil, what was there to gain in this? Why would the advisor find it important to place a focus on that prior to what we're going to do for the customer? There was no reason for this type of behavior. Advisors need to focus in on the message. But in addition to focusing in on the message, what are we going to do for them? What is the tone of voice that the advisor is presenting in this service? Is it cheerful? Is it an individual who's truly listening, a cheerful voice, or are we taking an approach that's negative? We need to always show that the customer is our primary concern. How do we do that? We actually show them we care. What's wrong with listening? You know, listening is becoming a lost art among a lot of people. We don't want to listen. And in this case, the advisor needs to look. I'm very much into involving the customer visually in everything we do. You know, even the BG service trays where they put the fluids out on, and they let the customer see the new fluid compared to the old fluid. Those fluid trays involve the customer visually. Now, I'm not going to get into the do we sell or how do we sell BG services. I know there's a lot of comments, positive and negative, on selling maintenance flushes. But the point of this is that the more you involve the customer visually, the better off that the whole interaction is. If a customer walks up to a service desk and informs the advisor that they've got a rattle in the dash, and the advisor writes that up without seeing the vehicle, looking it over with the customer, or involving them in any way, it's inappropriate write-up that's leading for a disaster. How about the customer walks up and says, "Hey, I've got this door handle loose." Well, how many door handles do we have in the car? 8. So if the advisor writes up customer states loose door handle, what kind of involvement is that? Does it show we have a concern for the client's care? Get up off the stool and say, "Would you show me what your issue is with the door handle?" Now we know what door handle it is. Is it the inner door handle? Is it the right door handle? But we also know if it's considered normal. Because if we don't know it's a normal condition, that repair order gets written up, the technician looks at it, says it's normal, and it puts the customer again in a defensive position. And when they get their warranty survey, do you think that it's going to be 100% positive? Or is it going to have an opportunity for the dealership to show improvement on a trend that they have no shot of? You know, all of the interactions with a customer in the dealership level, and really in a place where they're provided service, any place that's provided service, people remember the way they're treated. People remember if the advisor cares, if the staff does well, if it's organized, if it's procedural, if there are good processes, if their concerns are handled efficiently, promptly, with great detail and involvement. I'll promise you the vast majority of these interactions will always be positive. Do you have a situation in your dealership where you allow advisors to have a negative tone? Do we listen and look at our customers' needs? Well, I'm challenging all of you that we need to have a customer culture. Now, how do we place and put into force a customer culture in our dealership so that the entire team understands this is the desire and it's the expectation and it's the way we do business? Well, first of all, I think there needs to be a weekly meeting with the management and the entire team so they know that the focus is on the customer, that examples are given of positive and examples are given of negative. On the negative side, what could we do to have been better at this interaction? When you get a customer survey that's negative and you look at the numbers and you evaluate it, why not go deeper into that, involve the team in evaluating what could have been better? Create a culture that the clients understand. This is our reason for being. This is who we are about. This is the way we do business. This is what we think of our customers. Can your advisors and your dealership make a decision without asking anybody, hey, can I put this person in a car? Or could I discount this product or service? They're unhappy. I'm going to take this $50 markdown or whatever. Or do you need to involve management immediately? Whatever it is, a customer should never be allowed to leave the dealership with a negative viewpoint on the interaction. We need to be proactive with this customer culture. We need to understand that no matter what, the involvement of the entire team, bar none, understands the culture of this dealership is to provide maximum customer care. That regardless of the weather, the situation, how many customers are before them, they showed up early for the schedule, they showed up late for the appointment, what difference does that make? There's no benefit in giving the customer a lecture of how they didn't meet the exact schedule that they proposed. Our entire team needs to be flexible. The entire team has to have this customer culture built in. It has to be constantly reviewed. That's why I like the weekly meeting, so we can establish that this is the way we do business, that the customer is important, and nothing less will be tolerated. Now, as always, when we go through these calls, you can interact with us by pushing the number 1. When you push the number 1, Mike, our moderator, will see that your hand is raised, and he will acknowledge that your hand is raised, and you can make a comment or a statement. In this interaction, you can also email Mike or myself and give comments on today's broadcast, or also suggestions for future areas of concern that you would need. I'm real happy to be back and had a wonderful vacation, but seems like sometimes we get back from vacation, you even have to adjust a few days to get back to normal. Mike, do we have anyone with their hands raised?
No one's got any questions.
All right, well, no questions. Let's all create that customer culture that expands and retains the customers and takes us to the next level. Have a great week, everybody, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.